Hey guys, it's Erica here from Big Hat Creative, and today we're going to be talking about adding a shop to Squarespace. It's a bit of a daunting thing to think about setting up your whole shop. It seems like there's so many pieces to put together, but Squarespace actually makes it really simple. If you're just getting started with setting up your shop, this is going to be a good guide that covers all of the setup and design basics in Squarespace 7.0 and 7.1. It's a general overview of all of the things you should do and know when setting up your shop. So with that said, let's dive right in. Okay, so here I have open a Squarespace 7.1 site and also a Squarespace 7.0 site. So depending on what you're using, I'm going to go through both of the versions, though the back end setup of a shop is essentially exactly the same for both. The main differences are in the actual shop page design, but the majority of this is going to be the same, so that makes it really easy. If you are using Squarespace 7.1, then the design of the shop is even easier because all 7.1 templates are the same. So what I mean by that is all of the underlying functions of whatever template you choose to start with on 7.1 are going to be the same. So whatever I do today, you can do on your site. With 7.0, it's a little bit different because all of the starting templates for Squarespace 7.0 have different underlying functions. So I'm currently using a brine-based template on Squarespace 7.0, but if you're using something different, then the design settings might be a little bit different and the way your shop displays on your site might be quite different. So I'll show you the general area of where to update the design settings, but yours might be a bit different, so it might be worth looking into your template specifically if you need to make some extra design changes that I don't cover in this video. So I'll hop over to 7.1 and we're going to add a shop. So you're going to do pretty much the exact same thing in 7.0 throughout this. If there's any differences, I'll let you know, but generally this should work exactly the same. So head into your Pages panel, so click on Pages, and you're either going to add a new shop in the main navigation or the not linked. So the main navigation is what shows up here in your top main nav, and the not linked is basically just a page around your site that isn't linked in the main navigation. So I'm going to add mine in my main navigation, click on the plus, and then click on Store. In 7.1, it does prompt you to choose a layout, which it doesn't do in Squarespace 7.0, but it doesn't really matter which one you choose because the layout's completely customizable anyway. So you can choose one or two. I'm just going to choose one. Then you'll want to rename your store, so whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call mine Shop. It will automatically open up. The first thing I want to do is click on this cog here and we're going to set our shop page settings. So open up the settings and we're just going to run through these really quickly. You'll want to do the page title, so if you didn't have a chance to just edit that before like we did, you can put it in here. And the same with your navigation title. Your URL slug should be pretty much exactly the same as your page title. So if you want to add a category for every single one of your products in the store, you can add it here. Right now it's just set to all, so we can just leave it as that. So basically if someone clicks all in your category filter, then all of the products will show up. If you wanted to be more specific, you could change it to all workbooks or all prints or whatever your shop is. Under categories, this is where you can manage your categories. So we don't have any yet because we haven't added any categories to any specific products, but I will show you how to do that when we add a product. This is just good to know if you want to manage your categories in bulk anytime in the future, you can find them here. Under SEO, I recommend updating your SEO title. Just make sure you update the title because it sometimes does take the original name of the store. So I'm going to change this to shop. And then maybe add a description to make it more SEO friendly. And then for your actual SEO description, make sure you add something here that really describes your store and makes people want to click on it because that's really important for SEO. You can add a specific social image here for your store if you want to. And under advanced, click on quick view and you can decide if you want your products to have a quick view option. So for example, on the product page, if you hover over a product, a little quick view button will show up, and then this creates a little pop-up and shows the basics of the product. So this is instead of clicking into the product and opening up a whole new page, that's really just personal preference. Under Manage Tags, this is basically similar to the categories we just talked about. So you can add tags to individual products, which will help filter them out and organize them in your store. And you can manage them in bulk here. The page header code injection is just an advanced coding feature that you probably don't need right now. So when you're finished adding in all of your settings, click Save. And now we can follow these instructions. So the first thing we want to do is add a product. So you can do that by obviously clicking Add Product here, but when that disappears, you can also click this plus here to add a product. Now, yours might look something like this, or it might look a little bit different. Squarespace at the moment has 2 different product editors running. I think they're working on a new one and they're slowly releasing it out and getting feedback. So yours might look like this, it might look a little bit different. Either way, they both have all of the same information. So no matter what yours looks like, it should have 4 options here for physical, digital, service, or gift card. So from here, you want to decide on what you're selling. So for physical, it's pretty obvious, any type of physical product that needs to be shipped. Digital is a really popular one. You upload the file to the product, and when someone purchases it, Squarespace automatically sends them the file. Service is a little bit different. Nothing gets sent to them, nothing gets shipped to them. It is literally just paying for a service. And then gift card is pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to run through digital today, but make sure you choose whichever one you have, physical, digital, service, or if you just want to add gift cards. They are all slightly different, but again, Squarespace makes this so easy and very intuitive that you will be able to figure it out no matter what one you're choosing. So I'll run through digital. So this is where the product editors can look quite a lot different. You might be looking at something completely different now. Again, that's just those 2 different editors that Squarespace is trialing. This one I'm looking at now is the newer one. So if you are running a new store, this is probably the one you're looking at, and I'll show you how to use this one today. If you're running from an older shop, you might have the classic editor. So there's a button here where you can switch back and forth between the 2. So this is the classic editor, and this maybe is what you're looking at. This one has been around for a long time, and I'd say a lot of shops have these editors. The good thing is that pretty much everything in the new editor is in here. It's just a different layout. So I'm going to switch back to the new editor. But as we go down and fill out all the forms in the new editor, you just need to click across here and you'll have all of the same information. So I'm going to click into the new editor. So like I said, very intuitive, very self-explanatory. Add your product name. Add a description. So obviously add your description here. You want to add a thumbnail image, and you can add as many images as you like, and we will be able to edit the design of these images when we get to learning how to design the page. So upload any images you have. Okay, so I've uploaded a couple of random images that I had on my computer. And then because this is a digital product, it wants us to upload a file. So this is the file that it will send to people automatically. After they purchase, it'll send it to their email. So you'll want to upload your digital file here. So we can set the pricing. Obviously this is any price you want. And then if you want to put it on sale, you can just flick the on sale button, and then it will show a little sale sign in your shop. So that's what that function does. If you're working with a physical product, you will be adding here inventory and variations. So go ahead and add those for your product. And then we get to organization. Usually your products are set to hidden, which basically just means they're like draft products. And you can set them to public, which means they'll be live in your store, or you can schedule them at a later date. Say if you have a launch set for a specific product, you could schedule it in the future. I'm going to just set mine straight to public so we can see it. And then this is where you can add the categories and tags like we talked about before. So just click add, and if you want to add a category, just type it in, then click add. So when you add categories to your shop, they're going to display in your shop product page. And between 7.0 and 7.1, they will display quite differently. So I'll show you them in Squarespace 7.1, but in Squarespace 7.0, again, it depends on the template that you've chosen. So you might want to just experiment and see how they look on your template, or you could visit the Squarespace documentation where they have information on each individual template and how those stores look. The cool thing about adding categories, and I'm not sure if they do this in the classic editor, I think this is just a new editor feature, is that you can actually add subcategories. So when you click on your categories, you can see that I've added a subcategory already. I'll add another one and show you how to do it. Subcategory 2. Click add. And then you can just drag it into another category. So now we've got subcategory 1 and 2 under art prints. Or you can drag it just to be its own category. So I'm going to put that back in there. And like I said, these will display on your product page. So if you don't want any categories on your product page, the only way to hide them is to actually have no categories at all, or to remove them with some custom code. So this is a pretty stock standard feature, and they will be displaying on your product page. Categories are the main way to organize your shop, but you can use tags depending on what sort of blocks you're going to use around your site. I recommend just sticking with categories and subcategories for now, and in the future, if you discover that tags could be helpful, then go ahead and add them. But the categories are definitely more beneficial. You can toggle your product to be a featured product on or off. So this basically shows up in summary blocks around your site. So if you wanted to feature this product on your homepage, for example, you could add a summary block to your homepage, and then within those summary block settings, you could click Filter Feature Products, which is a setting inside the summary block, and then that will pull any products that you've set to featured product. So the product and the summary block sort of talk to each other. Your SEO and URL settings are important, just like we talked about before with the main product page settings. You'll want to add a good URL, not like this one. And a good URL basically has a very concise description of what the exact product is. So this would be Art Print 1, which is the exact name. I'm going to change the title to Art Print 1, though the title does take exactly from your product title, so you don't really need to change that. And then adding a description for each individual product is really beneficial. It's going to help a lot with your SEO. So I highly recommend doing that. Click apply. Under social share, you can add a custom image here if you want to for the product. If you don't add a custom image, it will just take the image thumbnail instead, which might be sufficient. Then scroll down to customize, and let's just go through these quickly. So you can add custom forms. Custom forms are really handy if you need to collect some sort of information when the customer is checking out. So if you click custom forms, you can create a new form for this specific product. So it's really easy. You'll want to call it something descriptive of what the form actually is. Then you can add as many fields as you want. So you just choose them from here. Text, you can do little buttons, name, email, website, any information you need to collect with your order. This is a great way to do it because it will come in with your order information. Once you've edited your form, make sure to save it. And then this is the new form I just created. So if you select it, then it will be required for this specific product. And you can see now it's been changed to enabled. Turning on related products is really cool, but it will actually take us out of the editor and into the commerce settings. So we will do that after. You can change the button from add to cart to something else. So you just click on enable custom label and you could say like, put it in my cart or anything you want there. Social accounts is basically connecting your shop to push products to your social accounts when they launch. I personally promote my products on social media manually, but this is quite a cool integration that you can set up. Basically, when you publish a product, it's going to automatically push it out to all social media that you tell it to. Again, this is going to take us out of the editor, so we can enable that in a different time. And additional info is very handy. You will notice with Squarespace, designing the product pages can be very limiting. Really, all they give you is a little image, some text, and an add to cart button. And so creating other elements on that page sometimes is really necessary. You need more than just the product description. So you'd put that in the additional info. So I'll pop in some information here and then I can show you on the product page where that shows up. But basically it just shows up right below the image and description. The cool thing about additional info is that you can actually add any blocks. So you can add text, click on the plus to add essentially anything, images, galleries, summaries, just like any page, you can add any blocks here. So I'm going to add an image and some text just so you guys can see what it looks like. It doesn't look like you can add formatting to the text, which is really odd. I think that's probably just a little Squarespace glitch because I know you can in the original editor. So hopefully they fix that up soon so you can add heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, etc. So I know this looks crazy, but I'm just going to put that there so you can see where it shows up. So let's save this. On the top left, click Save. And because we changed the product to live, it should be live in our shop. There it is there. So we'll just check it out. This is one of the thumbnail images I added. You can see that it's on sale for $100 down from $200. These are just the random settings I put in there. The design is set to have the image change when I hover over it, which is pretty cool. And if we actually click into the product page, you'll see the thumbnail images, the title, price, description, add to cart button, and then here's the strange additional info I put in the bottom. Obviously this doesn't look very good, but it is really helpful if you want to put any sort of information underneath the product. So you're going to get a very similar layout to this over in Squarespace 7.1. It has the images, the title, price, description, cart button. It also has the additional information. So the base designs are very similar, but their capabilities are quite different depending on the template you have in Squarespace 7.0. And this is our product page. This is just the design we chose at the beginning, so this is all editable. And you'll see it says art prints here, which is the category we set. You can actually see your categories if you go back one into your main shop. So you'll have your all, which is the main category we set up in the page settings. And then we have the categories that we set for this product here, which was art prints subcategory 2. So if I click on art prints, it will actually show me art prints and then each subcategory here. So I'm just going to jump over to 7.0. So I've added the same product in Squarespace 7.0. You can see that it's a really similar layout. So we have our products listed here. They do look a little bit different than in Squarespace 7.0, and they're not organized by category like they are in Squarespace 7.1. This is the shop page. It's totally blank to start with, and like I said, depending on which template you choose, this part's going to be really different. So because I'm using a brine template, it does look pretty similar to 7.1, but if you're using a different template, it might look completely different than this. So it's really hard for me to show you exactly what yours would look like because they're all so different. If I go ahead and click on the product, you'll see that the page is actually really similar here too. So you have the thumbnail images, the title, price, description, add to cart button, and underneath there's that spot for additional info where I just added some text this time. So the thumbnail images obviously look quite different, but this can be updated on this particular template to look more like they do in 7.1, which is kind of like a slideshow. So in terms of settings, Squarespace makes this really easy to actually set up the back end of your shop. If you just head back into your pages, back again, and then click on Commerce. So this is where you're going to do all of your back-end shop stuff. And if you are new to setting up a shop, they will set you through this process. So you can either go through this, or basically you can go through each of these one by one and check them out and see what you need to fill in. So go ahead and click continue on this and check out these steps. So we've added a product, which is great. Add a way to get paid. So basically you need to fill out your payment information. Click on this and this will open up payments, which was just a link underneath Commerce. You can connect Stripe or PayPal with Squarespace, and Square if you are in the US and have your customers paying in person. So most people will just use Stripe and PayPal, and I highly recommend connecting both of these because then it gives your customers two versions. Some people prefer to use their credit cards, some people prefer to use PayPal. And really importantly, at the bottom here, you'll want to set your store currency. So Squarespace actually makes these really easy to connect. You just click connect and it'll open up this module. You can sign up if you haven't already. It's all very straightforward. So I'm obviously not going to do that today, but this is the second thing you really need to do to get your shop set up. So back into Commerce, and I'm going to click continue. So let's say we've added our way to get paid. Choose how to ship your products. So this is obviously really important if you're setting up a physical shop. So this is obviously very personal to you and how you plan to ship. If you're a small shop, maybe you just ship everything manually. If you're a bigger shop, maybe you have a contract with a shipping company. Either way, you can choose from this list. So you can choose a flat rate, a weight dependent rate, or connect with FedEx, UPS, or USPS. So this part can be a little bit complicated. I'm going to link at the bottom of this video more information on how to connect your shipping with Squarespace. I know when you're a physical product business owner that shipping can be one of the biggest pains. So it's important to find out if there is an option for you in Squarespace before you commit to using Squarespace for your products. So I'll link that in the video below. Obviously, this only applies to physical product shops. For digital and service, there is no shipping involved. Cool, so that's the three main things: adding a product, adding a way to get paid, and choosing how to ship your products for a physical product store. The only other two things here are choosing a Squarespace plan to upgrade to, which you don't have to do yet, and publishing your store, which of course you don't have to do yet either. So in this panel here, you can manage your orders, inventory, customers, and discounts. I recommend popping in there and having a look. It's, again, very self-explanatory. All of your order details will be in here. Inventory, if you have a physical product store, this can be really handy. Customers and discounts, if you want to apply any discounts, it's really easy just to pop in here and add discounts like special codes or automatic sales. So that's a really cool feature. If you do also sell your products in person, you'll want to get set up with point of sale. I'll also link some more information on the point of sale Squarespace Commerce app below. If you do physical products, again, you can update your product status, which is pretty cool. So if your product is out of stock, you can change what the text says. Right now, it automatically says sold out. Or if you have limited availability, you can actually show a label for that too. And you can customize this however you want to. You can set up wait lists, which is a very cool feature. So you can turn this on here. This is a premium feature, and what it means is that when a product is shown as sold out, there will be a little email sign up form, and it will say this product is sold out, but you can get notified by email when the product is back in stock. So then you'll get a direct list of emails for people who want that product when it's back in stock. Though this is actually only for physical and service products, so you can't do this with digital products. Related products, we touched on this before. It was an option in the product editor. And like I said, it was going to take us out of the product editor. So you can actually find it here. If you want to turn it on, just toggle it on there. It will show underneath your product. It will automatically choose products from the same category, but you can change this in that product editor we just looked at. You can change the title for the related products, and you can also change the sorting. So if we pop back into our product, click Edit Product, and it's going to open up that product editor again. Let's scroll down to related products, click on it, and then we can change products with this tag or category will now appear as related products. So you can change the category you want it to pull for that product. Click Save. And you can see now at the bottom, it's showing you might also like with products from the category of all. Under notifications, customer notifications are easy to edit and I think quite important to edit. So basically these are the notifications, like the emails that customers get when they purchase or they abandon their cart or they create an account or anything like that. So all the emails that come from you. And you can actually edit the global email styles, which is an easy way to add your branding to all of the emails. And you can edit your business settings, which show at the bottom of every email. So you can add them all in here. This is actually a new editor. The old one used to be really clunky and hard to edit. So I don't even really need to show you how to edit these emails. It is so easy. Just click edit on the ones you want to edit, and it will open up this really simple front-facing editor where you can actually click on it and change pretty much everything about it, which is very cool, very easy, very slick. So I'm going to go out of customer notifications, and the notifications here for low stock alerts, basically Squarespace will send you an email whenever your stock is getting low. So you can set that up for yourself if you have a physical product. Payments we already talked about, that was connecting Stripe and PayPal. Your checkout, this is quite important. So this is your checkout page, and you can change quite a lot of things on your checkout page. You can't really edit the design at all, but you can add some things in here. So you can enable abandoned cart recovery emails if you have a premium commerce plan. Those are a good way to get people to purchase if they've put something in their cart and forgotten about it. You can connect your domain here once you have that connected to your site. You can connect your mailing list with the usual Squarespace connections, Squarespace email campaigns, or MailChimp. So if you're not using either of those, then you actually won't be able to connect your mailing list to your checkout, which is a little bit annoying because most people aren't using those two. You can set a default country for the address field. So wherever you think your audience is from the most, update that. You can use the shipping address as the billing address by default if you want to. Add a minimum order amount. Use an express checkout. And you can change the color of your cart, which is kind of random. I don't know why that's here and not in the site design settings. But if you want your cart to be a lighter color, if it's sitting on a dark background, you might want to click on that. And then there is a continue shopping link in your cart, and you just need to choose which page you want that to go to. So obviously I would recommend that to go to your shop page if people want to continue shopping. If you have a service product, you can actually set limits to how many services people can buy. You can change the order number where you want to start. This is really handy if you've already come over from a different platform and you want to make the numbers continue on from where you were. Under additional fields, this is really handy if you want to create a specific form at checkout. So I know we created a form already for the specific product, but you can actually create one at checkout too. So if all your products require the same information, I recommend putting one at checkout. But if your products require specific information per product, then obviously put those separate forms with the separate products. But just like we did in the settings, you can add a custom form here, and it works exactly the same. You can add your store policies, which I highly recommend you do. Add your return policy, terms of service, privacy policy, or anything else. And this is going to give your customer the ability to check those out before they actually check out. And under invoices, you can choose basically what tax information to put on your invoices. Again, this is personal preference or personal requirements for whatever you need for your tax and whatever you need to show on your invoices to your customers. So just read through that and make a decision. Customer accounts is optional, so you can actually enable customer accounts. I can't show you how to do it while I'm in a demo site, but once you enable it, a bunch of settings will show up, and basically this enables customers to actually create an account on your website This is good if you have customers coming back often and they want to save their details, and then they can access all of their order details. Shipping, we already talked about. Taxes is obviously important, and you can set them up here. So this is very dependent on where you're selling from, who you're selling to. I obviously can't give you any advice about which taxes you need to be charging. It totally depends on your personal situation and where you are in the world. But Squarespace does have some abilities to add taxes. It's a little bit limited right now, but I believe they're working on adding a new system that makes it a little bit easier to add taxes for different countries and more places. And under accounting, you can download your reports for sales and all that good stuff. So that is it for your commerce settings. It's very straightforward. If you just work your way down from selling tools all the way down to the bottom of setup, you will be pretty much ready to go. Okay, so now we've set up all of the boring settings, admin, shop stuff. Let's jump into the fun stuff, which I personally think is the design side of things. So I'm going to start with how to do the design on Squarespace 7.1, and then we can talk about Squarespace 7.02. Like I said, that design really depends on which template you're using, but it should give you a pretty good indication of where to at least find the settings for the shop. Okay, so let's go into our main shop page. And the really cool thing about Squarespace 7.1 is that your shop page is completely editable like a regular page. Unfortunately, 7.0 doesn't have that ability. It's very limiting. So with the new release of 7.1, this is a breath of fresh air on how you can actually design these pages. So you have your shop section, which is itself a section rather than a whole page. And then you can add page sections above and below it. So you would just add a section like you would on any Squarespace 7.1 page. They are editable like any page. So if you know how to use 7.1 pages, you can design on this page in exactly the same way. If you don't know how to use 7.1 pages yet, I highly recommend checking out some other tutorials on how to use Squarespace 7.1. But basically, you can add sections just like you would any other page, which is really cool. Another cool thing is that you can actually move this shop section up and down. So you can click move up, just like you can a regular section. So it's not stuck in any one place, and you can add sections below it too. So it can really be part of a bigger page, which is really cool. Aside from editing the page, just like a normal page, you can actually edit the design of your shop by clicking the little edit icon on the shop section. Now there isn't a whole lot of design changes you can make to the actual shop section. So obviously you have your page title at the top here, you have the categories along the top, and then you have your products in this sort of grid. So what we can do is we can just change spacing, column spacing, row spacing. We can change the amount of columns. You can change the aspect ratio of the images. You can change text alignment, image text spacing, and you can hide the price. For the categories, we can actually change it into a sidebar instead of having them along the top. So that might be better for your products and your shop. It's just personal preference. The category title is actually this. I wouldn't personally call this the category title because this is the name of the whole shop, but you can turn it off, and that will also remove that line, which is quite good. If you do have it on, you can change the alignment of it. And the breadcrumbs, I'll show you what those are soon. You can't actually see them on this page. Those are the settings you have for your shop. A super editable page. Not too many edits you can do with the actual shop in terms of design, although I think the options you do have are very sufficient for most shops. Most shops just want that sort of grid style layout. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then we can actually jump into the product and edit some design changes for the product. So you'll want to click edit and then edit design. And this will open up the page. And again, you'll want to click on that little edit section. So similar sort of options as before. You can change the image, text alignment, the navigation. So this is breadcrumbs here. So it basically shows you what categories it's going through. You could change this to none, or you could leave it on. You can change your spacing, the width of your image, content alignment, the design of the image, which is quite cool. So it can either be slideshow, which it is now, stacked, which is one on top of the other, or it could be a carousel, which is kind of like a slideshow, but it has arrows and goes through like that. You can change the gallery placement to left or right. You can change the width of your button. You can change the arrows if you're using carousel. There might be some other settings that come up here depending on which image style you're using. And you can also have a click action for your image, which is either zoom, so it will zoom into your image, or lightbox, which will open up the image in a new window. So I'll put it on zoom, and that's just going to zoom into our image. And then lightbox will actually open it in a little lightbox window like this. Under colors, you can actually change the color of your product. But I will say a note of caution here that whatever you change here will populate on all of your products, and it will also populate on your main shop. So I'll quickly show you if you wanted to change this to dark minimal. If I save this color and head back into our main shop, you can see that it's changed the color here now too. So I'm going to change it back to white minimal and head back into the product. And that will have changed back to white minimal too. So for some reason the color of those two things are connected. I'm not sure if it'll always be that way, but that is the way it is now. I also wanted to caution that whenever you edit any settings in the formatting here, this will populate over all of your products. So you aren't just editing this specific product design, you're editing all of your product pages. So once you're done with that, click Save. And now I'm going to show you how to update any other fonts and color settings. So if you pop into Design, and fonts and colors are the main ones, you won't need to worry about any other settings. For products, click on Fonts, and this is where you update the fonts for your whole site, but I'm going to just show you how to do the products. Scroll down to Assign Styles, and you'll see here Product Detail Page. So that is this specific page. You can change your item title, price, description, or the variant fields. We don't have any variant fields on this example, but you can update all of those there. So if you did want to update the fonts, that is how you do it. And you're going to have the exact same thing on the main shop page. So I'll go back, go into our main shop, click on Design, click on Fonts, scroll down to Assign Styles, and you'll see Products List here. So you can do the list title, which is this title here, price, which is this price here, and the status, which is this sale font here, or any other little statuses that show up. So that is how you do the fonts. And if you did want to update any color settings, you can do those under Colors, click on your section Themes, and then you'll want to update anything that comes under the section theme you're using. So we're obviously using white minimal for the shop and for the product. And so you would click Edit on white minimal, and if you scroll down, you will be able to find some product settings. So just scroll through, you can see here Products Basic Grid, so that's what this is. You have your title, price, sale price. So this is the colors for all of the shop items. And then underneath you also have the information for the product detail page. So that is the actual product page. You can change the title, price, sale price, all of those colors listed there. And the last thing I'm going to show you on Squarespace 7.1 is how to add the cart to your site. So it doesn't automatically show up when you add your shop, but it's really easy to add. Just click Edit, Edit Site Header, click on Elements, scroll down and toggle your cart on. And you can also change the size of it there too. So that's going to automatically add a cart to your header navigation, which is going to be very beneficial to your shop. And that is it for setting up a shop in Squarespace 7.1. So now I'm going to switch over to Squarespace 7.0 and give you a few tips on how to edit the design of your shop page and your product page. But like I've said a million times now, this is going to be quite different depending on which template you're using. So hopefully everything's in the same place and it gives you an idea of how to change stuff, but it won't look exactly the same unless you are using a brine-based template. So to edit the actual product page, let's open that up. Now, the actual product page design is extremely limited on Squarespace 7.0. You can't add page sections above or below, which is obviously a huge improvement in 7.1 that you can add those page sections. What you can do, or I should say might be able to do depending on which template you're using, is add a header. So you can actually add an intro to a lot of pages in Squarespace 7.0 depending on the template. You can see here when I hover over the shop, all it prompts me to do is manage the products. But if I bring my cursor up just a little bit, you can see it here, it says intro. So if you click edit on the intro, it will actually let you edit this little section above the shop items. So you can add anything that you want here, any blocks, any titles. And if you have shop categories you'd like to link to, you can actually add those manually here by typing them in and linking them. Click on the cog, page, shop, categories, and then you can choose the category you want to link to. So now that is actually linked to the specific category. Art prints should be called art prints, really. And when someone clicks on that, it will filter out that specific category. There's also another way to add categories. I will show you how to do that soon. But basically, this is all you can do with your shop page is add this header. And you can add any blocks, so you can make it quite big, whatever you want to add to it. And you can possibly add a background image, again, depending on your template. So I'll save this. And if you wanted to add that background image, you would just click on the little cog on your products page, click on media, and then upload that image here. It is a very roundabout way to do things. Again, a lot of improvements in Squarespace 7.1, but if you add a background image here, it will show up in this top section depending on your template. So that is pretty much it for shop design on the front end. But if we go to the site styles, there's actually quite a few more things we can do. So head back to design, click on site styles, and we're going to scroll down to the shop settings. So there's three things here: products layout, products details, and products sort and filter. So what we want to look at for the shop page is the products layout. So you can change your items per row, you can change your item spacing, your aspect ratio, and the image hover action. So it could either be fade, which is like a nice fade, or the alternative image, which it was before. So the settings for the actual shop section are quite similar to what we have in 7.1. Pretty basic grid layout. And then if you scroll down to products, sort and filter, you can actually put in your categories this way. So we don't have subcategories in Squarespace 7.0, but you can put your categories up here. So we have all, art prints, and I added subcategory 1, even though it's not a subcategory. So just dismiss the fact that that says subcategory 1. I think I was trying to add it and realized I couldn't. So those are just 3 regular categories, and you can actually change the way this shows, which is quite cool. So you can put it across the top, down the left side, down the right side, and you can change the width of it, the margin, spacing, alignment, font, and the colors. So there is actually quite a lot you can do, and that part is very similar to Squarespace 7.1. Once you're happy with the settings you've programmed in for the shop page, click Save, go back, and then click on the actual product. Then we're going to go back into Design, back into Site Styles, and now there will be a ton of other settings show up. So you have Products Layout. So there's so much stuff you can update in here, actually even more than in Squarespace 7.1. Lots of padding. You can turn your breadcrumb on and off. You can change your fonts, colors. You can change the actual gallery to stacked or slideshow, so similar options like we had in 7.1. You can change the size of it, the thumbnail alignment, thumbnail width, just a ton of settings for everything on this product page. And then the product details is this stuff here. So you can change the alignment, spacing, show or hide the title. There's a ton of things you can play with here. Then under product options, if you have physical products, you can show the quantity. There's nothing here at the moment that actually shows what that will look like, but basically it's just a little drop down where you can change, where people can add a quantity of how many they want to add to their cart, and then all the settings to go with that. You can change the add to cart button, you can enable image zoom, and you can update your share buttons, which are these little share icons here, which people can use to click on and share your products to their social media. So there's actually quite a lot of settings in here, maybe even a little bit more than 7.1, but again, you get quite a limited layout. It is very similar to 7.1 in the fact that you have your thumbnail images and you have your description next to it, and it is just a very basic product page. So once you're happy with those settings, click Save. And the last thing I wanted to show you is your cart settings. If you have a shop, you will automatically be given a cart. And if it isn't showing, go to your design, site styles, and look for cart in your header layout. So it will say cart position. This could potentially be set to hide. So make sure you have your cart showing, and you can add it to wherever you want to add it as long as it's showing somewhere. Okay, so once you have your cart added, that is your shop on Squarespace 7.0 all done. I hope this tutorial was beneficial. It was really just a run through on all the things you need to do. Sometimes the design settings can be pretty confusing, either version you're using. So I hope that helped you get your head around how to change the design on the front end and then again in the site styles or the design settings. Overall, I think Squarespace 7.1 and 7.0 are pretty equal in the shop areas, but if you are starting from scratch, I would recommend choosing 7.1 because it is generally just easier to use, and all of the new features they're adding, like the subcategories, are all rolling out on Squarespace 7.1, so it does look like the way Squarespace is going. I'm going to link a bunch of other resources below to do with Squarespace, and they have a whole video series on setting up commerce and all of the little individual particular settings. They have like videos on each of those, so it's really, really helpful. This is just a really quick run through and hopefully showed you how easy it is to actually get a shop set up really quickly and all of those little design things that Squarespace doesn't explain very well. So if you have any questions, drop them below, or if you have any tips for me, I'd love to hear them. And thanks for watching.